Hi, this is Nathan Tintle. In this Learning Goal video, we are going to discuss how to use the multiple means applet to compare two group means. We will use the bicycling to work example to talk about this learning goal. In this data set, we're testing the null hypothesis of no association between the bicycle Dr. Groves used and the length of his commute, with an alternative hypothesis that there is an association. Let's go to the applet and see how we can use the applet to test these hypotheses. I've pasted the data into the applet here in the sample data box, and you can see we have our two side-by-side dot plots showing us the carbon frame bike and the steel frame bike, as well as giving us some basic summary statistics, including the sample size, the mean, and the standard deviation in each group. I can click Shuffle Options and click the plot box to do one shuffle of the commute times across the two different types of bikes. So if I click Shuffle Responses now, I see the data mixing up and going back to the two groups. If you click Show Original Colors, you'll see that we've now mixed up the original red and black into these two re-randomized groups. You'll also notice over here on the right that we have a new difference in sample means. In this case, the difference in sample means is 1.86. So what we're saying is when we re-randomized the commute times to the two kinds of bikes, we saw a difference of 1.86. That happened when the bike he rode had nothing to do, it wasn't associated with the commute times. We can now say do many more shuffles of this. We'll do 999 more. Click Shuffle Responses, and we get a histogram showing us the shuffled differences in means. Now, to finish this up, we need to evaluate the strength of evidence. We've simulated the null hypothesis. It's centered at 0. Now we want to ask, well, how does our observed difference in means compare to what happened by simulation? The actual difference in means was negative 5.35. That's the difference in the average commute times when you rode the carbon bike and the steel bike. If we see how often a number beyond that occurred, beyond because we're going to do a two-sided test for an association in either direction, and we count that, we see we get a very large p-value of 0.718. In other words, the difference in average commute times that we see in this data of a little over half a minute is not something that we can rule out as having had happened just by chance. A couple of words of caution. The statistic when we do this simulation analysis is a single number. It's the difference in the group means. A lot of students want to say, I have two statistics. I have the average when you rode the carbon bike. I have the average when you rode the steel bike. We want to take the difference in those and get a single number. The 3S strategy is statistic, not statistics. It's a single number summarizing the evidence. Secondly, make sure you are comfortable with the tactile simulation. That's note cards with numbers. We talk about that in a different Learning Goal video. Make sure you're comfortable with that tactile simulation before you go to the automated computer applet so you don't fall into the trap of pushing buttons on the computer applet and not really understanding what they mean.